Good evening. Welcome to our online information session, Registration 102, hosted by Michael Mason and Nancy DiUlio. I'm Jeff Walkowitz, Dean of Undergraduate Studies, and I'll be collecting your questions via email to be answered live during our session. If you have a question for our hosts, please send them to summerreghelp@case.edu with the subject line Info Session. You may send your questions at any time during our broadcast. Now to our hosts, Dean Mason and Dean DiUlio.
Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome back for Registration 102. We're glad you could join us this evening. I'm Michael Mason, and I'm here with my colleague, Nancy DiUlio, both from the Office of Undergraduate Studies, and here mainly this evening to focus on answering questions that you have about registration. We know that registration's coming up in a couple of days, and it's a big time for everyone. First time using SIS to choose courses, and we know it can be a little bit confusing, maybe just a little bit concerning, but our goal tonight is really just to clarify any last minute questions that you might have and make the process, as smooth as possible for you, because even though it may seem a little bit scary right now, trust me, it's not bad. It's very simple, very easy, and you have lots of people here that are going to help you through the process. So what I'm going to do right now is just go through some important dates for you that we have queued up. And these are things that you just need to be aware of between now and the start of new student orientation. But the big one, like I already said, is July 10th. 9 a.m. here Eastern Time is when you can start to register for classes in SIS. July 15th at 11:59, right before midnight on July 16th is when we will close registration. And the reason we do that is because it allows us to capture everything that you've registered for at that moment and then spend the next 10 days or so, roughly, reviewing your schedules. So between July 17th and the 25th, someone from the Office of Undergraduate Studies, whether it's me or Dean DiUlio or any of the other deans in our office, will take a look at your schedule and make sure that based on what you've told us that you're interested in taking, your intended majors and things like that, that the schedule you've created for yourself makes sense. And so if there was any concerns about your schedule, we would reach out to you via phone or email. You could also monitor the progress of the schedule review on the new student checklist. So in the first year registration item, there's actually going to be a new item activated that's going to let you know whether your schedule is under review, whether the review has been completed and approved, or if there are concerns, it would be indicated on the checklist. But again, we would proactively reach out to you if that were the case. But in most cases, students do a really great job of creating a schedule that works. And so after that schedule's been reviewed and approved, we then send we send the schedules over to the SAGES office, and SAGES will be in touch with you via email to let you know that you should go back to the new student checklist and then start to go through the process of identifying and selecting SAGES for seminars that you would like to take in the fall. So you can see here in early August, you'll be contacted and notified to go back to the checklist. You'll look through all the schedules, all the descriptions of the SAGES seminars that fit around your existing schedules, so there won't be any time conflicts or anything like that. And then you'll choose four that you'd like to take in the fall, and you'll be registered for one of those four. You'll be notified of that because it will appear on your schedule of classes. And then also when you come to new student orientation, which you can see coming up here on the 17th, you'll meet with your SAGES instructor, who's also your first year advisor, on the 19th, that Tuesday of orientation over lunch. And then later in the week, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, you'll have an individual one-on-one meeting with your advisor. And I forgot to mention, and not intentionally, of course, that on August 14th is when International Welcome Days begin. So all of our international students will begin to arrive on campus on the 14th and participate in some activities on the 14th and 15th and 16th leading up to new student orientation. So lots of things kind of coming up, lots of really exciting things that should be a lot of fun, should be really informative, and are all working towards getting you ready to start classes here on August 25th, your first full semester at Case Western Reserve. So we're excited, hope you're excited, And we're here, like I said, to kind of help you along in that process. So I'm going to let Dean DiUlio talk with you a little bit about how to review any credit that you might have earned, and then how you might want to make use of that credit as you're thinking about your schedule for the fall. So, Dean DiUlio.
Oh, thanks. Thank you. Once again, let me just say welcome, and we're really excited that you guys are getting ready to register for your first semester. This is an exciting time as you look through all those courses that are possible for you to take in the first semester, and as Dean Mason said, we're here to help you make some good choices and get yourself off to some good selections. So first of all, many of you have earned some college credit already, some credit towards your Case Western Reserve degree, and that could be through AP scores or IB scores or courses you took at another college prior to coming to Case this fall. So what you need to do if you're in that situation, just to make sure we have all that credit posted for you, is log into SIS and then review your course history. You can also see if we've received your AP scores by looking in the new student checklist, but it's a good idea when you see it there to go log into SIS and check your course history anyway. So let me just show you what that's going to look like in SIS. So when you log into SIS, the red box is surrounding a little drop-down menu, and in that drop-down menu, what you want to choose is the item Course History, and then click on the arrow to go to Course History. And once you get there, you'll see something like this. And in this particular list of courses, you can see we're showing courses that this student has earned credit for either by earning the appropriate scores on their AP exams, so they've earned a 4 or a 5 on their AP exams, or they've taken a course at another institution that we've accepted for transfer credit. So as you're looking, you can see the very first course there is ANTH, that's the abbreviation for anthropology, 100-TR, and that's indicating that this particular student is getting credit for a 100 level anthropology course. If you look in the column where it shows grade, grade is listed as AP, so the student took the AP exam, and they've earned 3 credits. In this instance, the AP exam material doesn't match up exactly with an anthropology course that we teach on campus. And so we give you credit for a 100 level anthropology course, and that's what the TR is indicating. It's a transfer level course. Those 3 credits count toward the total number of credits required for your case degree, and that anthropology transfer credit or TR credit for the AP score can also fulfill a social science credit for you. In addition, as you look through that list of AP courses, you see a couple that have specific course numbers. If you earned a 4 or a 5 on the chemistry AP, you get credit posted for Chemistry 105, CHEM 105, and CHEM 113. That's our Principles of Chemistry course and the laboratory associated with it. And once again, those credits will count toward the total required for your degree. And if your degree program requires chemistry, the Principles of Chemistry course, you've earned that credit already, and it's shown posted here. A little further down, you see a grade of TR for ENGL 100 TR. That's an English 100 level transfer course. The TR grade tells you that that came from a college course that you took somewhere other than Case Western Reserve this fall. And then finally, the other thing I want to show you on this course history is you can see that listed there is a course FSCC 850. That is a SAGES course that's holding a spot on your schedule Monday and Wednesday, 12:30 to 2 o'clock, when you're going to have a SAGES course meeting, and we don't want you to schedule another course in that time frame. So that's our SAGES placeholder there. So you'll see that on your schedule. That's not going to let you schedule something in that time block, but you're going to actually choose a first seminar later, and that will replace that FSCC 850 course that's in that position. So use the new student checklist to check on your AP scores, but also log into SIS and view your course history to make sure that we've posted all of your transfer credit, so that if these courses need to fulfill prereqs for courses you want to register for on July 10th, we'll have those there. And if you have any questions or you think you're missing credit, either give us a call or email us at summerreghelp@case.edu, and we'll look into it and get you all squared away. The other question about credit, either transfer credit or AP credit, is whether or not to use that credit. And when we say use that credit, what we mean is, for example, the Chem 105 credit that I just showed you, Should you accept that as Chem 105 and move on to the next course? That's Chem 105 is Chemistry 1, Chem 106 is Principles of Chemistry 2. So the decision of whether or not to accept that credit and take the next course in the sequence really depends on a number of factors. So first of all, one thing that you should think about is how long has it been since you completed that AP course. If your chemistry AP course was your senior year, the information that you learned is probably pretty fresh in your memory, and it's going to be available to help you move on to the next course in that sequence. If you took your chemistry AP course when you were way back in 10th grade, it might be a little bit fuzzier, so you might want to consider whether or not it's the right time to move on to the next course in the sequence. Another consideration is how well did you do in the course and on the AP exam. So you have a score that's high enough to get you credit, and that's great. Is this a course that you feel really comfortable with? Do you feel like you've really mastered those concepts? In many cases, that AP course could be providing the foundation for a really important sequence of courses towards your major, so you really want to have that strong foundation as you think about moving on to the next course. That's our next point. Is this course a part of a sequence? So it could be part of a chemistry sequence, a math sequence, a physics sequence, and so on. So you're going to be the best judge of your comfort level with the material that you've learned, and so you need to decide, are you ready to move on to, say, Physics 2 or Chemistry 2 or Calc 2 based on your AP credit that you've earned. In most cases, you're going to be ready to move on to that next course. And so you might want to, say, register for Calc 2 if you have AP credit for Calc 1, but during the first 2 weeks of the semester, that's called the drop-add period, you'll get a really good sense of what that Calc 2 course is going to be like and what kind of material you need to remember from your AP Calc 1 course. During those first 2 weeks during drop-add, you want to make sure you're comfortable in that Calc 2 course, or if it might be better to enroll in Calc 1 and review that material that you learned in your AP course. Once again, this decision is really about making sure you have a strong foundation of this material. Material in the math and chemistry and physics sequences and in our other sequences of courses are going to be used in later courses, so we want you to be ready to go. And then finally, a couple other final points. Is the course part of my major? So if you're going to be a chemistry major, you want to think about how your chemistry AP credit fits in there. If you're going to be a biology major, your AP credit gives you credit for a course called Biology 200 TR. That's a 200 level biology course that counts towards your major, but you still have to take the first semester biology course, which is Biology 214 is the number, and it's called Genes, Evolution, and Ecology. So you're going to have that experience, but you're still going to get credit that counts towards your bio major from that AP bio exam. If you're planning to be a history major, maybe you have some AP history credits. You kind of want to think about how those AP history credits are going to fit into that sequence. But as I said at the top of our discussion, you've done well in that AP course, you've gotten a high enough score for us to award your credit, you're probably ready to move on, but really it's for you to think about your comfort level. And are you really comfortable and willing to step into that next level course? And I think you can look at what those courses are about, use the FYR guide that gives you some indication of good courses to take in your first semester, and then the drop-add period to evaluate if you're really in the right place. During that drop-add period, you can talk with your instructors as well, and they can help you sort out if you're in the right place. All right.
Okay. And just, one more thing to say about the AP credit is, if you don't have AP credit or transfer credit or IB credit or anything like that, don't worry. Don't feel like you're behind in any way. Our curricula is are designed so that any student who comes to the university with no credit whatsoever can complete their degree within an 8-semester time frame, just by starting out in the recommended beginning courses for any particular program. So if you don't have credit, or even if you do have credit and you feel like you really would benefit from repeating courses instead of using that credit to move on, don't feel like not having credit, not using that credit is going to put you behind in any way. It's all about getting off to a great start in the fall semester, and whatever you think is best for you to do that, the best plan for you doing that is what you need to do. So I want to just give you a few tips related to registration, some things to think about right now. A lot of you have already started filling up your shopping carts, but if you haven't done so yet, you need to do that. You want to spend some time finding out which courses you want to take in the fall, putting them in your shopping cart and having them loaded and ready to go so that when registration opens up on the 10th, all you got to do is click the checkbox next to the courses you want to enroll in, hit the enroll button, and there you are. You'll be enrolled in those courses. The other thing you want to do is update your emergency contact information in SIS. If you haven't logged in to SIS since July 1st, the next time you log in, before you can do anything else in SIS, the system's going to ask you to update your emergency contact information. So if you haven't done that yet, in order to avoid having to do that on the day of registration and having that, take a few minutes away from you getting into the shopping cart and enrolling in your classes, go ahead and do that now. Log in tonight, log in tomorrow at some point, but do that and update your info so we can make sure we have that on file for you. Take all appropriate diagnostic and placement exams. I know a lot of you have taken math diagnostic already. You've taken the language placement for any of the languages you want to take, but if you haven't done so yet, do it. Do it now. Get that taken care of so we can make sure that you have the appropriate prerequisites in our system so you can register for the appropriate courses come July 10th. Make sure that you've reviewed the registration guide, especially the sections that talk about loading your shopping cart, how to register for classes. Remember, there's a section in there that's separate from the shopping cart section that will literally walk you through step by step with screenshots about how you register for courses. But it would be a good idea to preview that process before July 10th, just so you're kind of familiar with how things are going to flow, so you're not just reading through it for the first time. Make sure you check the schedule development recommendations for any of the majors you're interested in, pre-professional information if you're interested in any pre-professional programs. Make sure that the course times that you've selected all fit. Remember that you can't register for two courses that are either overlapping, even if it's just by a few minutes, or happening simultaneously. If there are any time conflicts, you need to make a choice. If you have courses that have multiple sections, look at another section that fits with the another course that there was a conflict with. Or if you have questions because there's two courses that are only offered at one time each, and you're really having trouble deciding which one to prioritize for the fall semester, feel free to contact us, summeredgehelp@case.edu, and we can help you sort that out. Check the course prerequisites, so any courses you plan on taking in the fall. If they have prerequisites, make sure you've met those prerequisites. If they require a certain credit, make sure that credit's been posted. But use the validate feature in the shopping cart. The validate feature will let you know whether or not the courses you're planning on enrolling in are, whether or not you meet the requirements to be able to enroll in those classes. So you take the time now before registration opens up to use that validate feature, and if it comes back with any kind of errors, sort that out. Either, if you can sort it out on your own, great. If not, again, contact our office so we can help you sort that out. And also have alternates in your shopping cart, especially when it comes to smaller sections like labs, recitations, courses with limited availability. So for example, I'm going to show you a screenshot here of the Math 125, for example. You can see that it has 2 different lecture times, but then it has 6 different recitations. And the recitations are going to be the smaller sections that accompany the lecture, where you're going to do quizzes or reviews with instructors on a smaller group setting. And in order to enroll in the lecture, you've also got to enroll in a open recitation that goes along with that lecture. So when you go to load in your shopping cart, you'll choose a lecture and it'll ask you to choose the recitation as well. Some students will automatically default to just choosing that first recitation. And then when you go to actually enroll in classes on July 10th, by the time you go and click enroll, maybe that recitation's already filled, and the system will come back and say, you're not able to enroll in the course because the section is full. Well, the lecture's still open, and you can see there's 5 other recitations to choose from. They're all happening at the same time on the same day. So there's really not an issue of, if you can't get into one, it's not a problem if you can't get into the first one you chose. So you just, you want to be prepared for that by choosing multiple recitations and having those in your shopping cart so that if the first one fills up, you can easily just go back to the shopping cart, click the second one, and enroll in it and be done with it. We have had situations in the past where students have tried to enroll in the first recitation, it was full. The system came back and said the course was full and they couldn't enroll in the course, and then they were frustrated by that because they knew that they really needed to get in the course. So they contacted our office and we were able to help them understand that actually the course was still open, you just needed to choose an open recitation. So if you are planning on enrolling in a course that has small recitation sections, small labs, things like that that accompany the big lecture, just make sure that you're at least aware of this need to identify more than one recitation or lab. And to make it easier on yourself, you may just want to go ahead and insert into your shopping cart multiple labs, multiple recitation times that fit with your schedule. The other thing I wanted to mention about registration that I would hate to forget, because it's something that I really want to emphasize, is that 14 to 17 credit hours is the recommended range of credit hours for your first semester. So when you look through the recommendations in our first year registration guide, you'll notice in the schedule development recommendations that the ranges for those recommendations are between 14 and 17, and that's really what you should be focusing on for that first semester. Again, we're all about helping you get off to the best possible start that you can here at Case Western Reserve, and we know from experience, we know from data that students who go beyond that 17 limit can experience some difficulty. It becomes a really heavy course load. So as best you can, really try to stay within that 14 to 17 hour credit hour range, because that's where we feel like you're going to be most successful in that first semester in making that transition to academic life here at Case Western Reserve. If you look in the first year registration item on the checklist, you can see that's where you find the registration guide. That's also where you can view our online information session archives. If you haven't done that already, please do that. It's where you also can log into SIS. You get a direct link. But the other thing I wanted to show you is that this is also where you can go to submit a request for a course that requires instructor consent, or once registration opens up on the 10th, this form will become, instead of a request for consent, it will also become a request for enrollment in a course that is closed. So if you find yourself in a situation where a course that you wanted to enroll in is closed, or in other words is full, has reached its enrollment limit, you can go to this item on the new student checklist, and this is where you would indicate for us that you were attempting to enroll in a course that's now full and that you need to be enrolled in the course. Keep in mind, when it comes to courses that are required for your major, our commitment to you as a student is that we will do everything in our power to make sure that you are able to enroll in the courses that you absolutely need for your intended major for the fall semester. And we've been extremely successful in the past in being able to meet that need for all of our students. So don't worry, if you go to enroll in a course come July 10th and you find that it's full and it's something that you need for your major, just go onto the checklist, fill out this form, and we will begin immediately working on that for you, and we will follow up with you either via phone or via email. There's an option for you to tell us which you prefer once we've figured out a solution for you. What we can't necessarily promise for you is that we'll be able to get you into a course that maybe was just an elective course, or we can't make accommodations for closed phys ed courses. That's one thing that we can't do. But keep in mind, as far as phys ed goes, you have 4 years to take the equivalent of 2 semesters. So if you can't get one in your first semester, not a problem. Don't worry about it. Pick one up in the spring and you'll be just fine. But when you go to enroll in a course during the registration period and you find that it's full or it's closed, SIS will prompt you to submit a permission request through SIS. Do not submit that permission request through SIS. Please submit it through our web form. That way it comes to us in undergraduate studies and we can start working on that for you. So don't fill out the SIS form even if you're prompted to do so. The other things I wanted to mention, just to clarify, there are times where you might go to enroll in a course and you'll see that there's an error message that pops up. So I wanted to review with you what those error messages mean in case you do see them. And there is a page that explains all this in the registration guide, so you can refer to that as well. Again, if it says that the course is full, it's because it's reached capacity. But again, all you got to do is go onto the checklist and submit that course schedule change request, and we'll start working on that for you. Time conflicts, remember, like I said before, you can't enroll in 2 courses that are happening at the same time. You can only be in one course. You physically can only be in one place at one time. So, so that's kind of the guiding principle there. So if you come to find out that a time conflict has occurred, if one of the courses that you're trying to enroll in has multiple sections that happen at one of them happens at a different time, choose that other time. Again, if there's only one section offered of each course, contact us and we'll help you figure out which one of those courses you should prioritize for the fall semester. There are other error messages you might receive, requisites not met. Again, this has to do with making sure that if you are trying to enroll in a course for the fall that has a prerequisite, that you have the credit posted, and Dean DiOlio already told you how to go and check for that. It could also be a co-requisite issue. So for example, if you wanted to enroll in Bio 214 for the fall, you would have noticed that the co-requisite for that course is Chemistry 105. And so if you don't have Chemistry 105 credit already, you have to be enrolled in Chemistry 105 in the fall as well to be able to take Bio 214. So that's another area, or another time where an error message might occur. But if you use the validate feature, like we talked about already, then you should be able to avoid any of these error messages because you will already have checked to make sure everything's going to work out for you, or addressed those concerns with us before registration opens. And the last one is consent required. So sometimes there's instructor consent required for the class. Again, you just use our form on the checklist to request that, and we'll work on your behalf to get you consent for that particular course. So those are the error messages. There's the registration tips. And now I'm going to turn it over to Dean DiOlio. She's going to talk to you a little bit about SAGE's first seminar before we open it up for questions.
Yeah, so your SAGE's first seminar is one of the really important courses that you're going to be enrolled in for this fall semester. And your SAGE's first seminar does a host of different things. It's about learning critical reading skills, critical thinking skills, writing skills, communication skills, and your first seminar course is going to be limited to 17 students. So it's a chance to be in a smaller group and work really closely with your instructors. Your first seminar instructor is going to be your academic advisor until you declare a major over the course of this first year. And we really like the fact that you're going to see your academic advisor 2 or 3 times a week during your first semester. So it's a really good chance for you to keep up with each other so your advisor is well informed on your progress, and you have a really good opportunity to ask them any questions or discuss any concerns that might come up. The first seminar courses are really interesting. They're selected from a host of different topics, many different topics out there. They're grouped into courses that addressed thinking about the natural world, thinking about the social world, and thinking about the symbolic world. But all of these courses have some topic, some thread that runs through that you'll be exploring over the course of the semester with a faculty member who spent a lot of time thinking about that topic. So it's a great opportunity for you to learn and about that topic, but also learn some really critical skills. So as you're getting ready to choose your first seminar, the way that this is going to work is you're going to register for all of your classes except that first seminar, as we've already discussed. Once registration closes, and undergraduate studies, Dean Mason, myself, and the other deans review your schedules and clear them as okay, good schedules that students have built. And as Dean Mason has mentioned, most students do a great job putting together a schedule that works really well. Once we approve your schedule, we send it over to the SAGE's office. And the SAGE's office is going to match up to your schedule all of the first seminar courses that will fit around the courses you've already registered for. And that's going to open up a new item on the new student checklist. So you'll get an email from the SAGE's office telling you to go to your checklist and view your first seminar options. Once you get there, when you look at those first seminar options, you're going to choose 4 of those that look interesting to you that you would be happy to be enrolled in, and send that choice off to the SAGE's office. The SAGES office then will enroll you in your first seminar. So all this will happen in the first couple weeks of August. So prior to getting on campus, you'll see if you log into SIS, your first seminar selection will be posted in your course registrations there. And once you get on campus during new student orientation, you're going to meet your seminar group, all of the other students you're in class with, and you're going to meet your first seminar instructor, who's your academic advisor at that time. So a couple things to keep in mind during course registration coming up here on July 10th. You don't want to put any first seminars into your shopping cart. You'll be blocked from enrolling in them because they require instructor consent permission. So don't put any SAGES in your shopping cart, and don't request permission for any of those first seminar SAGES courses. We're going to work those out after you register. So just keep that in mind. I think the last thing that I'll say about SAGES First Seminar is they are really interesting courses, really small courses that are going to really help you build, once again, those foundational skills. This first semester is about foundations, getting off to a good start, building skills, building knowledge that you're going to use in your courses in many semesters to come. So we're really excited about you getting on campus, getting into your courses, and we're ready to take your questions about course registrations and course selections. And I think the last thing that I'll say before we go to questions is to keep in mind that as you're looking at this and putting your schedules together, there's been pretty good deal of thought that's gone into scheduling the first year classes so that, you know, whatever major you might be pursuing, if there are a couple of courses you need to get in this first semester, you can be confident that they're not usually scheduled at the same time, so we don't see a lot of time conflict problems with courses required in your major. And we also, as Dean Mason has already said, been really successful in getting students enrolled in the courses that they need to be enrolled in that first semester so that they can pursue their intended academic interest. So I think at this point, we're ready to take your questions.
I think so.
Okay, that was great information and should get people off to a good start. We have some questions that have begun to come in, and let me remind viewers that you can send questions to summerreghelp@case.edu and mark them info session. The first question comes from Jacob, and Jacob wants to know, how do placement tests work during orientation week? And then gives an example. He would like to take Math 223, and can he take the placement test for that class during orientation?
Yeah, this is a great question. I think what Jacob's referring to are the proficiency exams that some departments will offer during orientation week. So if you look in the registration guide, you can find more information about which departments offer which exams. And there's also information in your new student orientation guidebook app that is available on their website now that'll tell you when, which days and which times those are actually offered. But math, chemistry, physics, and computer science all offer proficiency exams that you can take during orientation. And if you pass a proficiency exam, you actually would earn course credit for that, for that course. So it's 3 hours or 4 hours of credit, whatever the case may be, and it actually would satisfy requirements for a major or, count as hours towards your degree if you pass the course, or pass the proficiency exam. So for now, let's say in Jacob's case, you were thinking about taking the Math 223, which is Calculus 3 proficiency exam during orientation. Without having credit for that course, if that's required for your major, what you'd want to do right now, starting on July 10th, is go ahead and register for Math 223. And then once you come for orientation, of course, you'd want to sign up in advance to take that proficiency. There's instructions for how you do that in the registration guide. But you would want to go ahead and register for that proficiency, and then when you sit for the proficiency during orientation, if you pass it, you'd be notified that you were going to earn credit, and then you could work with our office, you could work with me to make an adjustment to your schedule to get you enrolled in Math 224 if that was the case, or whatever the case might be, depending on your unique situation.
Thanks. And the next question comes from Megan. And Megan wants to know when she'll get to meet with her advisor and whether she'll be able to make changes to her schedule after that meeting.
That's a great question from Megan, so thanks for sending that in. You're going to get to meet with your first seminar instructor, your first year advisor, during that new student orientation week. and you're going to have a group meeting with that person. I think that's on Tuesday. On Tuesday, you have a group meeting, and on Wednesday or Thursday, you're going to have a chance to sit down individually with your advisor and review your schedule. Once you sit down individually with your advisor and review your schedule, if there are courses that you would like to make changes to, whatever those changes may be, you're going to be able to log into SIS and make those changes starting on Friday of that new student orientation week. So we want you to have a conversation with your advisor, talk about your questions or concerns or changes in your academic interest as you're plotting your first semester, and then you're going to be able to make those changes starting that Friday of orientation week. You can also make changes to your schedule during the first 2 weeks of courses. That's called our drop add period. So this is an opportunity for you to enroll in a course, go to that course for a couple days, find out if it's for you, and if it's not, you can actually drop that course from your schedule. If you're checking out some courses and you think there's something that you might like to add that you're not enrolled in, if it doesn't conflict with the course you're currently already in, attend that course before you add it to your schedule and make sure that that is the right course that you want to join. And also attending that course during the drop add period keeps you up to date on it so that you're not adding a course that you have missed significant time on. So you can use that time to sort things out and make sure you get your schedule set the way that you want it.
Thanks. The next question is from Andrew, and Andrew's looked over the courses and would like to take 5 classes and sees that they add up to 20 credit hours, and would like to know how to go about requesting an overload.
Well, for the first semester, we don't allow students to take more than 19 credit hours. So unfortunately, there's not a way to be approved to take 20 in your first semester. Now, in your second semester and there on out, if you'd like to take more than 20 hours, students are permitted to do that if they meet certain GPA requirements. But in that first semester, like I said before, we are very much invested in helping students get off to a good start academically. And historically, as I've said before, both from experience and working with individual students, but also by, with some data that we've collected over the past few years, students who take higher credit loads often have more difficulty and end up, withdrawing from courses or not doing as well in certain courses. So especially if it were to be, 20 hours or more, that's something we really be concerned about. And so in this case, we don't allow that. Now, if you're having trouble figuring out, which courses you want to prioritize for the fall semester, certainly you should contact our office and we can help you sort that out. Because in most cases, students may believe that there are 4 or 5 classes that they have to, absolutely have to have for that first semester. When in fact, when we look at it a bit closer, we might recognize that there's an opportunity to make sure that you still take all the classes that you need in order to make progress, but you can maybe leave one out or, hold off on one until the spring semester and still be just fine.
Great. The next question is from Xiao Li, and Xiao Li wants to know, says that she indicated on the forms that she wants to be a chemistry major, and now has decided that she would rather be doing engineering. Wants to know if she's able to take the engineering courses now, or whether there's something else she needs to do because she indicated a chemistry major.
Oh, that's a great question. The good news is you don't really have to do anything special, but choose those first semester engineering courses so you can get started off in that direction. So as a first semester engineer, with your interest in chemistry, that's great because one of the courses you'll be taking this semester is Chem 111, which is Introduction to Chemistry for Engineers. So you still get to do some chemistry, but getting off on the road toward engineering. Probably what's going to happen is you're going to enroll in those engineering courses, and when we review your schedule, we're going to see that you indicated initially you wanted to be a chemistry major. You'll probably get an email or a phone call from one of the deans in our office to say, oh, have you changed your academic interest and now you're pursuing engineering? And you'll tell us, yes, I am. And we'll say, oh, great, you chose all the right engineering courses, using the FYR guide as a place to get information on which to choose. You'll register for them, we'll approve your schedule, and that'll be great. You'll be off on your way. The other really good news is that if you pursue an engineering schedule this fall semester, but then decide that your interest really is in chemistry, the courses that you take this fall are going to be helpful in meeting requirements towards your chemistry degree as well. So it's still, once again, about getting good foundations, and the coursework you do this fall semester is going to be helpful toward whichever degree you ultimately decide to pursue.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks. The next question is from Gary, and Gary indicates that he's received AP credit and wants to know whether he has to do something to formally accept the credit by checking a box or something like that on the checklist if he doesn't want to use that credit. Is there something special that he needs to do about that?
So Gary, you don't have to worry about doing anything special to, accept the credit. As long as you've arranged to have the credit sent to Case Western Reserve, which it sounds like you have, once we receive it, we automatically post it to your record, and there it is. So if you're in a situation where you're thinking to yourself, maybe I've got credit, let's say for Calculus 1, but I want to retake Calculus 1 at Case, you don't have to do anything special. All you have to do is enroll in that course for the fall. And then once you complete the course, that course credit will automatically replace the AP credit on your record. So that way, again, you can't earn credit for the same course twice, so it'll just, replace it. But there's really nothing formal you need to do as far as checking a box or filling out a form or really letting anybody know. You just, have to go ahead and enroll yourself in the course. And for any student out there who's wondering if they have to do anything extra, once you've gone on to SIS and verified that those credits are in your course history, you know that everything is set as far as your credit goes, and there's nothing more that needs to be done at that point.
Great. The next question is from Jose, and Jose is asking, is there any advantage to taking the enhanced physics and math classes compared to the standard ones?
So I think as far as the enhanced courses are concerned, the thing to keep in mind about the enhanced courses is they're really just designed to be a different take on that material. So for example, we offer enhanced physics and then enhanced calculus. So the enhanced physics, is still going to cover all the same material as, Physics 121 would, the general or Physics 1, but it's going to take a different slant on that. So it's going to be a little bit more geared towards the theoretical and looking at, how do you learn to think like a physicist? How do you solve physics problems from the perspective of a physicist or someone who's more interested in the theoretical kind of underpinnings of that material. So I think the advantage might be if you were a student who is planning on, let's say, majoring in physics or majoring in math, you may find these kinds of courses to be more interesting. Also, if you are the kind of person who really just does in general enjoy more of the theoretical approach to learning those subjects or are really curious about it, if you have not had experience with it before, then again, you might really enjoy the class, and our hope and our kind of thought is that if you enjoy what you're learning about, then you're more likely to find success in it and to have a good experience. But other than that, I wouldn't say there's a real advantage. Sometimes students will make the assumption that an enhanced course is the same thing as like an honors course that they might have taken in high school. And that's really not the case. This isn't designed to be the equivalent of like an honors offering of a particular course where you're somehow going to learn something more or have a necessarily better or more complete experience by taking these enhanced courses. It really just is designed to be a different take on the material that's available to students who are interested in it. But beyond, finding the right kind of course for you, I wouldn't say there's any like real advantage. Like it's not going to, let's say look better to a graduate program or a prospective employer or put you in any better position to do better in future coursework.
I think the other thing about the enhanced courses is they do have this sort of theoretical take, And if that's what you want to learn, it's a great way to go. But you should remember that if you want to be a physics major or a math major and you don't take the enhanced courses, that's fine too. The math and physics sequence is set up to start you at the beginning in either the advanced or the other courses, have you meet all your degree requirements and be all set to go, building that strong foundation this semester to move forward.
Great, and this will be our last question. We'll respond to other questions by email. The last question is from Megan, and Megan noticed that all of the phys ed courses are full and wants to know if she can wait to take one later.
Certainly, Megan. Yeah, I think that, like I said, if you can find a phys ed course that's open for the fall and it fits your schedule and it sounds like something you'd like to do, go ahead and grab it. But at this point, if everything's full, definitely waiting until the spring is perfectly fine, because again, you just need 2 semesters worth of phys ed before you graduate. So you have plenty of time to meet that requirement. And who knows, maybe some things will open up between now and the first day of classes. So certainly if things become available, say during the drop add period, you'd be free to add them then. But again, no problem if you just want to wait till spring and just focus on your academic courses for the fall semester. Perfectly fine.
Great. I also want to give Dean Mason and Dean DiUlio the chance if they have any final comments they wish to make, and then I'll close out the session.
Okay. Well, I do want to plug real quickly before I forget that tomorrow evening from 6 to 9 p.m., our office will be having extended call-in hours. So July 9th, if you want to call in, 216-368-2928. You can go to our webpage, case.edu/UG Studies, and find our phone number there. But we'll be available into the evening tomorrow to answer any last-minute registration questions you might have. I guess beyond that, really the only thing I want to say at this point is just that, don't worry. The registration process will be just fine. We're here to help you out. It's something to be excited about. And as long as you spend a little bit of time getting prepared, you shouldn't have any issues on come Thursday. But if you do for some reason, call our office. We'll be here to help you out through the whole process.
Yeah, I think the only thing I would add is it's really kind of fun to look through that list of course offerings and see all these interesting things that you can study this fall. So, enjoy browsing through and picking some great courses, and we look forward to helping you out.
Okay. Thank you, Dean Mason and Dean DiUlio, and thank you to our viewers for participating in our information session tonight. If we didn't get to your question this evening, you can expect to receive a reply by email shortly. Please note that an archive of past info sessions is available on our website. Please be sure to email us at summerreghelp@case.edu with any questions as you prepare to register for classes. Have a good evening, and we look forward to having you on campus soon.